Now, if you go to page 9, really what it's all coming down to is, okay, you collected information, you know the who, you know the what, where, why, when, and how, and then the idea is that you monitor them over time. You're looking for unusual activity. You have collected enough due diligence where you kind of understand, if it's an individual, what their finances look like. If it's a company, you kind of understand what their business model is, who the owners are, and how that all works. And the idea is that you're maintaining and updating that information over time as part of a monitoring program. And the monitoring is going to be different for different levels of risk. So individual, somebody who comes in and they've just applied for their car loan and they're making their monthly payment, well, that might be a lower risk type individual that you might not be monitoring as closely as maybe you have somebody who is, maybe it's a money service business that has an operating line with your bank or something along those lines, where there's going to be more monitoring involved with that particular relationship just because they're higher risk. And the monitoring, you're maintaining and updating information over time. It's event driven. So somebody picks up the phone and gives you a call, and you find out that your legal entity customer has just been sold, right? So you have a company that you're doing business with, and you have new beneficial owners. Well, that's a trigger. That suddenly you have new information. It's event driven. That telephone call lights a fire under you to say, okay, now we may have a change in their risk profile. Who did they sell it to? Since we have new beneficial owners, that's actually going to trigger a requirement that you collect beneficial owner information. We haven't gotten into detail on that yet, but that's where we're going to go. So if a business is sold, or maybe one of your businesses, they fundamentally change how they operate. Maybe they went from being that local store to now they're operating, maybe they switched to an international market, or maybe they switched to multiple states. How does that affect their profile? Is there something you need to be aware of there? So just keep in mind, once you have to, if there's something that you learn about in the course of your relationship with your customers that might affect their profile, and will that affect the type of monitoring that you need to do?